The first time we meet Beckett Redfellow, he is sitting on death row, only 24 hours away from execution. The walls around him are cold, the silence is heavy, and the only person listening is a priest. But Beckett isn't praying for forgiveness. Instead, he calmly begins to explain how a poor boy with nothing became the heir to a fortune and why so many people had to die for him to get there. Beckett tells the priest that his story began long before the murders, back when he was just a child raised by his single mother, Mary. She had once belonged to the powerful Redfellow family, one of the richest families in the city, but they cast her out when she became pregnant as a teenager and refused to give up her baby. She chose love over wealth, and for that, she lost everything. Life for Mary and Beckett was hard. They lived far from the luxury of the Redfellow estate, struggling with bills and surviving on very little. But Mary never allowed her son to feel ashamed of where they came from. She constantly reminded him that he was still a Redfellow by blood, and one day he should fight for the life he deserved. As a boy, Beckett often looked at the world of the rich from the outside, especially when he met Julia Steinway. Julia came from privilege, elegance, and old money. She represented everything Beckett wanted: comfort, beauty, power, and access to a world he believed should have been his from the beginning. Julia and Beckett formed a strange friendship. She liked his intelligence and ambition, while he admired her confidence and the effortless way she moved through elite society. Even as children, there was tension between admiration and envy. Beckett didn't just like Julia, he wanted the world she lived in. Years later, Beckett grows into an intelligent but frustrated adult, working as a suit salesman. It's not the glamorous life he imagined. Every day, he helps wealthy men dress like kings while he remains stuck behind the counter, watching opportunities pass him by. The bitterness inside him keeps growing. One day, he unexpectedly runs into Julia again. She is now married, polished, and still living the kind of life he once dreamed about. Seeing her reminds him of everything he lost before he ever had the chance to claim it. She is a living symbol of the life he believes should have been his. That same day, Beckett gets humiliated at work and demoted from his position. It is the final insult. Years of resentment, disappointment, and buried anger suddenly become crystal clear in his mind. He decides he is done waiting for life to be fair. If the Redfellow fortune belongs to blood, then he will take it by force. His plan is simple and terrifying. Every Redfellow standing between him and the inheritance must disappear. No more begging, no more watching from the outside. He will remove every obstacle one by one until the empire belongs to him. The first target is his cousin Taylor. Taylor is careless, privileged, and barely appreciates the wealth he was born into. To Beckett, Taylor represents inherited luxury wasted on the undeserving. Beckett murders him, and the death is ruled as tragedy rather than suspicion. At Taylor's funeral, Beckett steps into Redfellow territory for the first time as more than an outsider. There, he meets Taylor's father, Warren Redfellow. Warren sees something in Beckett, perhaps intelligence, perhaps ambition, and surprisingly offers him Taylor's old job at a financial investment firm. Beckett accepts immediately. Overnight, he moves from selling suits to entering the financial world of wealth and power. It is his first real step inside the empire. He no longer has to stare through the window. Now he is sitting at the table. As he settles into the job, he begins preparing for his next move. Noah Redfellow. Noah is another cousin and another obstacle. But unlike Taylor, Noah's death requires patience. Beckett carefully studies his habits, routines, and weaknesses before making his move. During this process, he meets Ruth, Noah's girlfriend. Ruth is warm, intelligent, and refreshingly genuine. Unlike the polished people in Redfellow circles, she feels real. What begins as strategy slowly becomes something unexpected. Beckett finds himself enjoying her company for reasons that have nothing to do with manipulation. Still, ambition wins. Beckett kills Noah, removing yet another heir from the family line. But this time, the pattern begins attracting attention. 2 FBI agents approach him, asking questions about the suspicious deaths surrounding the family. The agents are calm and professional. They do not accuse him directly, but their presence makes it clear they are watching. Beckett remains composed, pretending ignorance, and even acting unsure whether he qualifies for any inheritance. He hides behind innocence while his empire quietly grows. Julia reappears in his life, this time not as an unreachable dream, but as a desperate woman. Her husband, Lyle, is broke, and she asks Beckett for financial help. The balance of power has shifted. The woman who once represented everything above him is now asking him for a loan. Beckett refuses her. It is a small but powerful moment. For the first time, he is the one in control. Julia sees it too, and beneath her smile is something dangerous. Recognition that Beckett is no longer the poor boy she once knew. Meanwhile, his relationship with Ruth becomes serious. They start dating, and eventually they move in together. For a moment, Beckett begins to imagine a life beyond revenge. Ruth gives him peace, something money never could. At work, his career rises quickly. He is promoted, respected, and treated like a man who belongs among the wealthy. He is building the life he always wanted. Yet even with success and love, he cannot stop. The hunger inside him is not satisfied. He continues the killings. Stephen Deese, then Cassandra, then MacArthur. One by one, more Redfellows fall. Each death pushes him closer to absolute control. But each murder also drags him further from the person he could have been. With every funeral, Beckett becomes more accepted by the family. Ironically, the more relatives he kills, the more he is welcomed into the dynasty. The hypocrisy of wealth and bloodline becomes almost laughable. No one sees the monster because he is wearing the right suit. As he prepares to target Warren, something changes. Warren is not like the others. He treats Beckett with genuine respect, mentoring him and trusting him. For the first time, Beckett feels something unexpected: love and loyalty toward a member of the family he once hated. This realization shakes him. He begins to question everything. He has Ruth, a successful career, and now even family acceptance. Maybe he no longer needs the killings. Maybe he can stop before there is nothing left of his soul. He chooses to quit. He decides he will leave the blood behind, marry Ruth, and finally live honestly. He proposes to her, and she says yes. For a brief moment, it feels like redemption might still be possible. But fate moves first. Warren suffers a heart attack and dies. Before passing, he tells Beckett to live a happy life. It is both a blessing and a warning. With Warren gone, only one Redfellow remains between Beckett and total inheritance: his grandfather, Whitelaw. Whitelaw is the true king of the family empire, a man built from old money, cruelty, and ruthless tradition. He invites Beckett to dinner at the family mansion on the very night of Beckett's engagement party, and Beckett knows this is not just a dinner invitation. Before he can go, Julia stops him with devastating news. She claims she has evidence connecting him to the murders. Unless he gives her money immediately, she will expose everything. It is not friendship anymore. It is blackmail. Beckett has no choice. He agrees and personally delivers a check to Julia's husband, Lyle, at his office. During the tense meeting, he touches a letter opener on the desk, leaving behind fingerprints. It seems meaningless in the moment, but it will later destroy him. Missing his own engagement celebration, Beckett drives to the Redfellow mansion to face Whitelaw. The estate is massive, silent, and full of history. It feels less like a home and more like a throne room waiting for its final heir. At dinner, Whitelaw reveals that he knows exactly who Beckett is. He sees through the lies, the ambition, and the blood. But instead of condemning him, he almost admires him. He recognizes himself in his grandson. Whitelaw explains that the Redfellow family was built on ruthless survival. Wealth was never inherited politely, it was taken. He tells Beckett that true Redfellows do whatever is necessary to rise. In his eyes, Beckett has finally proven he belongs. Then Whitelaw presents him with an old family heirloom, a trench gun used by Beckett's late grandfather during World War I. It is not a gift. It is a test. Whitelaw demands that Beckett kill him and claim the fortune properly, according to Redfellow tradition. Beckett refuses. For all his crimes, this is a line he cannot cross willingly. But Whitelaw attacks first, forcing a violent struggle inside the mansion. In the chaos, Beckett kills him in self-defense. When the dust settles, Beckett is the sole surviving Redfellow heir. The fortune, the estate, the empire, it is all finally his. After a lifetime of longing, he has won everything. But victory feels strangely empty. A grand celebration is held at the mansion. People toast his success, smile at his rise, and welcome him as the new patriarch. Yet beneath the music and champagne, danger is already waiting. The same FBI agents approach him again, but this time they are not asking questions. They arrest him for the murder of Lyle. Lyle was found stabbed to death in his office, and the murder weapon, the letter opener Beckett touched, carries his fingerprints. The irony is brutal. After surviving all his calculated crimes, Beckett is caught for a murder he didn't commit. His rise collapses instantly. Wealth cannot protect him now, and the man who finally got everything is sentenced to death. Back in prison, with execution only a day away, Julia visits him. She reveals that Lyle left behind a suicide note, one that was hidden during the trial. That note could prove Beckett's innocence and save his life. But Julia is still playing the same game. She offers freedom at a price. Beckett must sign over the entire Redfellow fortune to her. Everything he killed for, everything he sacrificed, must be handed away. Beckett reluctantly agrees. Survival matters more than pride now. He signs the papers, giving Julia the empire he spent his life destroying himself to obtain. It is the final humiliation. True to her word, Julia releases the suicide note. Beckett's innocence in Lyle's death is proven, and his execution is stopped. The prison gates open, and he walks out alive, but with nothing left. Outside, Ruth is waiting. For a second, he hopes for forgiveness, maybe even love. Instead, she silently returns his mother's locket, the symbol of everything he once was. Then she walks away without saying a word. That silence hurts more than any prison sentence. As Beckett stands there, stripped of wealth, love, and purpose, he sees Julia waiting beside the Redfellow family driver. She now controls the fortune. She won the final move. Without resistance, Beckett joins her, and together they drive toward the Redfellow mansion, the same place where this bloody dream began.